All right, Shalom. First and foremost, before I get started, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachah HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth and rule well. Peace and blessings unto the hopeful elect, pushing his word throughout the four corners of the earth in truth, righteousness, and sincerity. To you, I say Shalom. This is the brother Yeshaya coming at you again through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, with another lesson. This one, pretty much going to entitle it "Division is Taking America." Okay, because we see, the current news right now, what's going on with Trump and Elon Musk, and the division, the pretty much the clash that they have between each other as far as the different ideas and as far as legislation is concerned. But got this news article from NBC News. I'm not going to read too much into it, just pretty much get the gist out of it, and then I'm gonna bring some precepts out. Because as we see, the more closer we reach the end of this man's kingdom, and the closer we reach the return of our Lord Yahweh Shai, we're starting to see that division become more and more apparent, that divide becoming more and more and more, right? When you go into, as a matter of fact, let's get this real quick. Let's get Daniel, the 2nd chapter, right? Because it speaks about it. That dream that Nebuchadnezzar had. It speaks about Rome, right? And it speaks about, them feet, which is the continuation of Rome, which is America. But this is Daniel 2 and verse 40. Just getting straight to the point. It says, "And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, and as iron that breaketh all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise," right? Because we know that the Roman Empire was a strong military might, right? That's part of Esau's blessing, the sword, right? But of course it fell, and with its what's that word? Resurrection, it came back through America, or what you would call the American Empire, right? But verse 41, it says, "And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron," right? The strength of the iron. So the might, right? The power, the influence that America has is similar to Rome's, and really a lot of the strategy, the way Esau goes about things is all due to the Roman tactics. Roman, pretty much is influenced by Rome, because again, this is Rome all over again, the resurgence of Rome, right? But it says, "For as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay," oh wait, Salakia, 41, "and whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's iron and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay." And miry clay, when you look into this, let me get it real quick. I don't know if it'll show me right here, but pretty much when you go into a mire, right, clay, it says I don't think it's gonna go into it. Yeah, it's not gonna say it. But as a matter of fact, I think I just Google it real quick. Miry clay, it says, miry clay is a descriptive phrase used to evoke a sense of being stuck in a difficult, unpleasant, or unstable situation much like being bogged down in mud, right? So as mud, like how mud is, right? Whenever it rains, it's very slick, very uh, um, pretty much you can't hold things together, right? Um, Let me see. Right, it says literal meaning. Miry clay refers to a soft, watery, and sticky substance like mud or bog. Right, so just like back then, right? Um, the iron, the Roman Empire, it was made out of iron, meaning it was solid. But even then, they were divided too because they had the Senate, they had all that shit, right? Different parties. But on this, the resurgence of it, like you will see more of that division taking place, right? Um, Let me see where is it at? It says verse 42, and as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And that's what we're seeing in America now. America is being broken through its division, right? They have Democratic and Republican parties, but even amongst the Democratic parties, the Democratic Party and the Republican Party amongst themselves, they're being divided, or they're divided. They're arguing over certain points. It's hard to get any legislation because of the amount of division that's taking place amongst themselves, right? Let me see. Verse 43, it says, and whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. Right, exactly. Meaning they're not gonna hold, not gonna stick together, right? It's just like putting well, that's the best example, really. Iron mixed with clay. Just grab some pieces of metal and grab some mud and see if they'll stick together. It's impossible. They're not gonna stick together, right? So that's what we're seeing in America. That division. Everything is very polarized. Everything is very separate. People ain't coming together, right? There is no community. There is no teamwork. There is no true. I guess you could say true leadership, right? And I'm talking about in Esau's society, like Esau's um, political structure, right? They have so many people, you know what I'm saying? So many moving parts, different ideas, different perspectives, different nationalities, different people, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is a melting pot here in America. But this is all part of Esau's MO, to build that Babylon, or the Tower of Babel all over again, right? Bringing everybody as one, right? And that's even talked about in the book of Habakkuk 2 and 5. It says, yea, also because he transgresses by wine, he is a proud man, going into his philosophies, right? It says, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death and cannot be satisfied, right? Because he's always gallivanting, chasing some more, or enforcing some foreign policy, what I'm saying, looking at different prospects of who to victimize, right? Talking about these other countries, pretty much expanding his own profits, so to speak, right? But it says, but gathereth unto him all nations and heapeth unto him all people. So that's him, bringing everybody as one, right? Shit, even Esau's motto, or the American motto, e pluribus unum, out of many one, right? That's all part of their new world order. That's even also on their motto, Norvo Ordo Seclorum, right? Now, Let me read this again. But gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Right? That's even spoken about in Revelation, the 17th chapter. Right? The horde that sitteth upon waters. Right? I'm going to read it. Revelation 17:1. It says, and there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great horde that sitteth upon many waters. Now, when you scroll down, where is it at? It's going to mention those waters right here. Verse 15, and he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the horse sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. Again, so this is America. Like I said, this is a melting pot of nations, of cultures, different ideas, different perspectives, different gods, right? So this is that miry clay mixed with iron, or that iron mixed with miry clay. You know, everything is so polarized, everything is so divided. You know, the scriptures talk about in Amos 3:3. It says, can two walk together except they be agreed? You see? So Esau's society was never going to work because these people are so divided in their ideas, in their morals, in their in a lot of aspects. They're very divided, very different. But even we're seeing this now, even amongst in Esau's cabinets, in Esau's Senate, his politicians, right? The whole political structure is very divided. To where no one can come to an agreement as to how to fix these problems that we're seeing take place and hit Americans, right? Now let's go to this article. Let me get this. So this is from NBC News. It says, emboldened and out of government, Elon Musk emerges as a problem for the Trump White House. So it says, let me just scroll down. I can't stand these ads. All right. So it says, just days after he left his powerful position as one of Donald Trump's closest advisors, Elon Musk is orchestrating a pressure campaign to sink the mammoth tax and spending package that is the centerpiece of the president's political or policy agenda. So there you go, man. One of Donald Trump's or advisors, I was about to say cabinet members, but one of his advisors now is, going, out back after he got, pretty much dismissed from being in his position, being in that Doge position. Now that he's been dismissed, now he, is pretty much against what Donald Trump is orchestrating, right? Or trying to put together. But it says, Musk used X, his social media site, on Wednesday to implore Americans to call Congress and urge it to kill the bill that Trump hails as big and beautiful. Right? So they're divided. There's a conflict of interest here, right? But it says he also urged lawmakers to rewrite the bill from scratch, putting him squarely at odds with Trump, who had invited him into cabinet meetings and empowered him to dismantle whole agencies and shrink the government workforce. The bill, which had already passed the House, faces an uncertain fate in the Senate, where just 4 Republican defections would spell defeat. You see, so this is making it harder for Donald Trump to, have that seamless flow of power, right? Seamless lawmaking decisions. In the beginning of the year, it seemed like he would have, such a, which he did, very rapid and seamless transition. You know what I'm saying? And and especially of his ideas that he was trying to push. Him coming into office, he came in running, went ahead and started signing all these executive orders. Some of them, of course, got held up in, different courts and whatever. But the point being is that it seemed like things were going to go smoothly for him, but he's facing a little bit of resistance, you know, and this is part of his own, one of his own, ex-advisors, you see, just showing you the division that has really taken place, and who knows how much more division is really taking place behind the scenes, right? Because everybody's chasing their own interests, and we know this about Esau. Should have happened in the Roman Empire. Everybody chasing their own interests, people, backdooring other people, what I'm saying, creating assassination plots. But this just goes to show you this is Rome all over again. Esau it was just bound to happen. You know what I'm saying? History repeats itself, as they say. You know? But it says, where was I at? Oh yeah, it says the bill which has already passed the House faces an uncertain fate in the Senate, where just 4 Republican defections would spell defeat. It doesn't sit well uh, with Trump world that Musk is the messenger. Trump is considering when and how to respond to Musk's gambit. A White House official said he was caught off guard, but not entirely surprised by Musk's opposition. A senior official said Trump had sent Musk off in style, giving him a golden key and saying a goodbye ceremony in the Oval Office that the media covered live. The president wanted to be a nice guy, the senior official said. So I guess this is the video of Musk's farewell. But it says Musk's post come a day after his surprising defeat with Trump over the bill's merits. On Tuesday, he called the measure a disgusting abomination, warning that it would push the nation deeper into debt. Which, that's another thing, man. Like, when things start getting to the point where, because people can disagree on ideas, right? Different points of views, and what I'm saying, and some legislation. But once it starts getting down to hurting people's pockets, people's livelihood, people can't go out, what I'm saying, buy food, and people are hurting to pay the rent, pay bills. Pretty much their lives is being threatened by the way of all these taxes and different, legislation that's taking away jobs, and what I'm saying, replacing them for other things like AI. you know we're going to start seeing things go more and more savage. People are going to it's going to get cold out here, man. It's going to become a cold world out here, man. But people are going to just start taking what they need, right? Yeah, but this is where we're headed. This is all part of prophecy, right? And this ain't nothing. This is just the beginning. This is a little, symptom of Esau's fall. You know what I'm saying? This division. But like I said, this division is going to spill out even more. And we've been saying this for a long time, right? We're going to start seeing more and more division, more and more uh, um, of this right versus left, paradigm start to intensify. You had that movie Civil War. That's a prelude of things to come. All right. And as a matter of fact, we can get that. That's in Second Ezra's, the 15th chapter, and actually not that one, Salakia. Egyptian versus Egyptian. I believe it's Isaiah. Uh, Bear with me. I think it's Isaiah 19. Let me see. Okay, yeah, right here, verse 2. Isaiah 19 and 2, it says, "And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight every one against his brother and every one against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom." Right, and that's what we're about to see. Civil war, blood on the streets, man. Now, not just because of this, but we're gonna start seeing things start to intensify even more. That political divide is gonna get even more broader. Parties fractured. That's what we're about to start seeing. You see? Hey, Carl how about Shimei Shai? He's making things move, right? What do you how should I say? In Matthew, I believe it's the 10th chapter, 24th verse. Wait, no, it's a 34th verse. It says, "Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. For I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law, and a man's foe shall be they of his own household." Right. So that's what the Most High is bringing. Right. Division, separation. Right. And we're seeing that even amongst different families. Families are divided. Different perspectives on how they should move forward. Right. Different aspirations, different political views. You see, especially with money starting to get more tighter, best believe you're gonna start seeing this division within families start to get worse and worse. Oh, this person needs help, that person needs help, and this person doesn't want to help out because he earned the money and he doesn't want to give the money out. So that's gonna cause division. You know what I'm saying? And this is already happening. But how much more as we come closer and closer to the fall of the American empire, this American society, right? Vision is going to become uh, 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 more and more obvious, right? To where you're going to see um, different parties just different people that support the opposite party come after other people that oppose their party, right? Oh, you voted on this bill. You know what I'm saying? Now motherfuckers are going to go to the street and start killing people, right? That's what we're about to start seeing, man. But as the scripture says, and this is a beautiful thing, man. We've been prophesying about this. We've been wanting this to happen, really. You know what I'm saying? Because we ultimately know that with this man's fall comes our rise, our kingdom, right? This is in Mark 3 and verse 24. It says, and if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. You see? And we're seeing this in America. Greatly divided, fractured, as we read in Daniel the 2nd chapter, right? That iron mixed with miry clay. It ain't gonna stick. They're too divided. They're opposites. But it says, and if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. Right? That's why we're gonna see this man's empire just crumble. It's gonna fall. And all you Jakes that's still cleaving onto this place, y'all gonna fall right along with it because y'all want this place to continue. All you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans that still trust in the shadow of Egypt, y'all gonna fall right along with this man because y'all can't see that the Most High has determined a judgment to be set upon America, upon Esau, upon those that are contrary to his will and contrary to what to his order. All the things that we're seeing now happen in America is all divine judgment. All right. Now I also have this I want to read because I was looking this up. Type this up on Google. America's division problem. And the AI overview gave me this little rundown. But it says the division problem in America, often referred to as political polarization, is a complex issue characterized by increasing ideological separation and animosity between political parties and their supporters. So it says key aspects of the division problem: deepening partisan divide. Republicans and Democrats are drifting further apart on various issues, leading to greater disagreement and a decline in consensus on crucial matters like immigration, climate change, and the role of government. But even more than that, like that bill, the big beautiful bill that Donald Trump is trying to implement, going into taxes and spending, right? Like I said, once things touch people's pockets, things is gonna get more and more savage out here, man. Which that's what it's gonna get to. As a matter of fact, let's get this. Second Ezra 15. I'll start at I start at 16. It says, "For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, and they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power," right? Because people are gonna have enough of their uh mayor, of their congressman, their congresswoman, right? Their governors, their policemen. You see? People are going to take to the streets and start hunting these people down because of the bad legislation, the bullshit laws that they're going to come out with here soon. People are already crying about taxes. People are already crying about job losses. You know what I'm saying? People are already crying about these college institutions, college tuitions, debt, cost of living crisis. The list goes on. So what we're asking is that what is it going to take for all this shit to just break loose, man, to just pop off? Because America can't, saying, like I said, it's so fractured to where it can't take much more. It's like you're pounding on this glass. You see the cracks already showing. Well, that glass ain't going to hold much more longer. So how much more is it going to take? And we're praying to the Lord to, speed this thing up, man. We're ready for this place to go down. We ain't got nothing here, man. We ain't got nothing to hope for in this place. This place is done. It's through. It's been hell since its inception, right? But it says, continuing on in this second Ezra 15 and verse 17, "A man shall desire to go into the city and shall not be able," right? Martial law. "For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, and the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and to spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation." You see? Because people are going to need sustenance. When there's no money, you can't go to the grocery store and buy food. So how you going to live? You're going to have to just go out there and take it by any means necessary, right? And that's how it's going to be with these Babylonians, these Americans, these Egyptians. You already see, let me get that real quick. Matthew 24. Matthew 24 and verse 12, it says, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. And that's what we're seeing. People don't care about their neighbors no more. They ain't no community. Like I said, the family, even in the families, they're all broken up. So when all hell breaks loose, these Americans ain't going to have a leg to stand on. They ain't going to have no support. Everybody's going to be out for themselves. Esau has made these people very selfish. You seen it during the whole C-19. When what's it called, the whole the ragamuffin, as the apostle likes to call it. When that thing was going on, you saw the people over here going to these stores, taking all this damn toilet paper to the point where people couldn't even fucking wipe their own ass, man. Taking up all the toilet paper, taking up all the hand sanitizer. And that's just items. That's just, you know what I'm saying? Like this is not that's not no serious thing. But imagine when food goes out. When food goes out, man, be prepared, man. That's what we tell you, Jakes, man. Hey, you know what I'm saying? Turn to the Lord. That's where your protection is going to lie. You're here trusting in your money, trusting in Jake is very prideful, man. Jake won't take no advice. They'd rather, you know what I'm saying, what's that word? They'd rather spite themselves than to admit that someone was right. But hey, it is what it is. This is only meant for the elect at the end of the day. We ain't here together, everybody. If you don't believe, if you don't care, hey, you can, kick rocks, man. We could care less. We're out here for the salvation of the elect and ourselves. We ain't here for no stubborn nigga who just wants to talk shit, has opposing views, trying to debunk what we're saying. We ain't got time for that shit. Right? We have to gather the elect and get us the hell up out of here. The rest of y'all can stay here, saying, and cook up in this goddamn oven that the Most High is about to, ignite. But anyway, let's go back. Well, let's go back to that AI overview. So it says, continuing on, it says affected polarization. Beyond ideological differences, there's a growing dislike and distrust between members of opposing political parties. This emotional polarization exacerbates social divisions and can impact relationships. You see exactly what we read about in Matthew 10. Families divided, relationships broken up. You know what I'm saying? If you're a Democrat and your wife is a Republican, y'all gonna be arguing. That's just the way it is, because of the different policies that these different parties are implementing or upholding, right? But it says contributing factors: elite polarization, political elites, and elected officials are more ideologically polarized than the general public. The rise of partisan news outlets and social media echo chambers contribute to reinforcing existing beliefs and create filter bubbles. Right, so pretty much there's a war on information, where where one news channel will pump out this certain type of propaganda, while this other news article will pop out an opposite, propaganda. That's why you have all these truther websites and truther news websites, right? But it says demographic and cultural shifts. changes in demographics, including shifts in region and religious affiliations, and the alignment of ideology, race, and religion play a role in the political divide. Right. Hey. And when we go back to Second Ezra 15, I'm sorry, 14. I should have read it, but it says, "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands." Right. So, there's gonna be a race war. Anybody who ain't white is gonna get it. Right, and everybody who's white, be prepared to, be faced with resistance. You know what I'm saying? But it says, let me read this again. Changes in demographics, including shifts in religious affiliations, and the alignment of ideology. Race and religion play a role in the political divide. Right, that's another aspect. Religion. Right, ideology. See what I'm saying? So it says some research suggests or it says economic inequality. Some research suggests a correlation between high levels of economic inequality and increased political polarization. Right, because ultimately, when you read or when you go into these truther websites, or even amongst the average general public, they pretty much view the top rich as, just bribing their politics, and pretty much just getting away with policies like uh, legislation that's just helping them forward their business, their enterprise, right? Putting more money in their pockets, tax cuts more for them, right? And let me get this real quick. Um, where was it at? Proverbs. Proverbs 29, I believe. 29 and verse 7, it says, "The righteous considereth the cause of the poor, but the wicked regardeth not to know it." So I'm going to read this in the NIV. It says, "The righteous care about justice for the poor, but the wicked have no such concern." That's right. And who's in power? The wicked, the rich, the powerful, right? The righteous being, of course, Jake, the Israelites. The wicked being Esau. He doesn't give a shit about the poor. He doesn't give a shit about, the sheeple, as they call them, right? Sheeple. They just guide you here and there. They toss you to and fro. You know what I'm saying? They don't really have concern for you. They call y'all useless eaters, because to them y'all serve no purpose. And really, a lot of people here serve no purpose at all, man. Besides just eat, shit, and sleep. Y'all just taking up air, taking up space. But that's how the elite view y'all, as being useless eaters. You see? And ultimately, the Most High views y'all the same way. That's the reason why a lot of y'all are going to be destroyed. Right? Now, let's go back. Right? It says consequences, right? The consequences of all this division, right? It says government gridlock. The deep division. Oh, government gridlock, right? You had a government shutdown a couple years ago because they couldn't come to a decision as far as the funds or whatever it was, right? That can happen again, a government shutdown, to where you ain't going to get no services, you ain't going to get your social security deposits, whatever it might be that the government, handles, you ain't going to be able to get that from them because the government shut down. Find common ground. view him as being a man gonna shake things up and put things back the way it was. What the fuck is going on with this damn shit, man? Slovakia. But it says potential for undermining democracy. It says research suggests that effective polarization can undermine democratic norms and potentially contribute to an environment that allows for undemocratic behaviors. So that's what they want. They want to be able to create an empire. You know, what do you call it? A dictatorship. You see, because it's more easier for them to do it that way. Man, this AI breaks it down, man. So it's addressing the division problem, promoting civility dialogue, reforming election processes, encouraging empathy and perspective taking. That shit is gone out the window, man. That's not gonna happen. Highlighting common ground. There is no common ground. Responsible media consumption. Yeah, nah. The people that are in charge of this are the small hats. You know what I'm saying? Everything is controlled by these small hats. These small hats, as the scripture says, the scriptures talk about how the earth is given into the hands of the wicked, and Amalek being the chief house is on top of that, right? But this is all, you know, wishful thinking for these Babylonians, because this ain't gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? The scriptures talk about it in let me get it real quick. In Jeremiah, the 51st chapter, in verse 8, it says, verse 8, it says, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her? Take balm for her pain, if so she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go, everyone into his own country. For her judgment reaches unto heaven and is lifted up even to the skies. You see, so America's done. There is nothing that can be done to heal this place. You know, no amount of quantitative easing, no amount of reforming different legislations, no amount of trying to build the trust of the public. There's nothing that can be done to remedy what he has done. The only remedy is for the fall of this place, right? So much injustice, so much wickedness has been committed on the soils of America that the only solution is ultimate destruction, right? Just as Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed, this place is going to go out. See? But this is the determination that the Most High has determined against America, against Esau, right? But yeah, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, this division is just going to get worse and worse. Expect to see more division. Expect to see more. Expect to see that really start spilling out in the streets. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, especially if this is going to start affecting people's pockets, people are going to start, you know, becoming more and more aggressive, more and more violent towards authority, right? So with that, I'm going to go ahead and close it out. I pray the lesson was edifying. I'm going to close it out by saying, Call Elohim La, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Racha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth and rule well. Peace and blessings unto the hopeful elect, pushing his word throughout the four corners of the earth in truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Until the next time, I'm going to say, Shalom, Kwam Nasher Allah.